Hi, how are you? Awesome. We're gonna do an art project together. Are you excited? Me too. So the one we're gonna do right now is the paint a rainbow on bubble wrap. So we did do this one at my house, but not every friend was here. So I really wanted to make sure that I got to do it with each one of you. So I'll tell you what we need and then we'll get started. Bubble wrap, you have some of this in your art bag. And then white cardstock. It's a thicker paper, it's thicker than construction paper. And that's also in your art bag. But if you don't have it, it's okay. White construction paper will work beautifully. You'll need water, and this is because we're gonna be washing our paintbrush in between making colors. So you want a jar or glass of water. You'll want a marker for writing your name. You'll want a paintbrush, and then a palette or a paper plate or anything to put your paint on. You want a paper towel for either drying your hands or wiping off your paintbrush. And then of course your paint. We're gonna need all the colors of the rainbow. I don't have all the colors of the rainbow. And if you would like to do it the way I am, it's super fun. We're gonna make some of the colors of the rainbow. So for this one, we're gonna be using primary colors. Do you remember what 3 colors are primary colors? Red, blue, good job, and yellow. Can you say primary colors with me? Primary colors. Yes. And what it means is that we can take just these 3 colors and we can make every other color of the rainbow just by mixing a combination of 2 of these colors or more. Not all 3, because of course that makes brown, but you know what I mean. So that's how I'm going to do it. Thought that would be a fun way. And then I am using this is actually a cutting board, but I'm using this because I'm doing a lot of tutorials today and I wanted to keep my workspace clean. So you could use a cutting board or just do it on the table, however you guys are more comfortable. And then of course, if you normally wear an apron when you do creative painting, I would recommend doing that because we're gonna get it on our hands. Of course, it's not gonna stain anywhere, but and it won't stain your clothes, but it will be easier to clean up. Okay, if you don't have an apron, don't worry. You can see I don't have an apron, and I probably will get the paint on my clothes because I always do. Okay. Oh, and then I have a cup of water. So if you get thirsty when you do art, you want to grab a cup of water. So you guys can pause it if you need to, grab your stuff, and then come on back and we will start. Okay, so the first thing I have is the white cardstock paper, whatever kind of paper that you have. Definitely needs to be white. Because if it's not white, we won't see all the colors of the rainbow. Okay, I'm gonna take my marker and we are going to practice writing our name, yes. So go ahead and take your time. Can you tell me the first letter of your name? Yeah, nice, good job. I am writing all my names, my first, my middle, and my last name. Take as much time as you need. Okay, those are my names. Miss Alyssa Marie Patty. Great job with your name. You guys are getting so much more comfortable with that. I'm really, really proud of you. Okay, so we're gonna take this white piece of paper and put it to the side. We're gonna take our bubble wrap. Do you guys like playing with bubble wrap? Yeah, it's fun to pop the bubbles. You can like squeeze it, or try to pop one at a time, which is difficult. But there's just something about it. You just want to play with it when you're touching it, right? Totally. Makes a cool sound. So feel free to play with your bubble wrap. We will also be playing with it when we have paint on it. So I'm going to put the paint on my palette. Ooh. We've got yellow. I'm going to put a little bit extra just because we're going to be using it to make a couple of other colors. So when you make a new color with primary colors, it's called a secondary color. Can you say that with me? It's a big word. Secondary. Secondary. Yes, just like that. Okay. I'm just gonna keep my paint close by just in case I need more. Okay. I'm gonna put that right here. I've already got paint on myself. Okay, so we are going to be taking our paintbrush. I'm gonna make sure it's not crusty. And we are going to take the first color of a rainbow and we're gonna paint it like that, okay? Just like that. And then we're gonna take the next color and go under. And we're going to do that until we have a rainbow on our bubble wrap. And when we have a rainbow on our bubble wrap, we'll then take our white piece of paper and not the side that you wrote your name, but the other side. Push it down and you rub it, and then voila, you will have a bubble wrap rainbow on your paper. And it looks really cool because of all of these little bubbles. What shape are the bubbles? Yes, they're a bunch of circles. And it looks really cool when the paint has the imprint of all those circles on it. So the very first color in a rainbow, do you guys know? I'll say it in sign language too. Yeah, it's red. So we already have red, we don't need to make it. And I'm gonna get lots of paint with bubble wrap. You wanna use a lot of paint because there's so many little grooves. You can see the spaces in between the circles. Those saturate a lot. They soak up a lot of paint. And remember, I'm going to show you how I'm doing this, but this is your art, right? And you do your art the way you want your art to look. So it doesn't have to be an arc like this. Doesn't have to be. If you want to do them in straight lines or however you choose to do it. I want you guys more than anything to enjoy and have fun with this project, because when we are 3, 4, and 5 years old, that's actually how we learn. The more fun we have, the more excited we are to do something, and the more engaged we are, the more we learn. And we can't really do that without fun, right? Yeah. Oh, and if you want to, you could take your finger and you can try to like pop it. You don't want to rub it around too much, but you can try pop, well, unless that's the look that you want for your art. But you can try with the wet paint, popping the bubbles. It's very difficult. Yeah, it feels like really slimy, huh? I'm gonna go ahead and skip that part because I am gonna get paint on myself, but I don't wanna get that much paint. And some of you guys love the way it feels to paint with your hands. right? So who likes to paint with their hands? Yeah, and like you don't care what it feels like when you get the paint on your hands. I've seen some of you, paint both sides of your hands into your arm and you love it. And then there's some of us who don't like the way it feels to have paint on our hands. Raise your hand if you don't like the way it feels. Yes, so I'm one of them. I wish I wasn't. And sometimes I paint with my hands anyway, but for this art project, I'm not going to. Okay, so the very next color of the rainbow is orange. Very good. So do you have orange? No. Right, we have to make it. Do you remember what two colors make orange? We mix red and yellow. Now we don't want to mix all of them, all of our red and all of our yellow paint together, because we're still gonna need some red and some yellow. So I'm gonna take, let me show you. I'm gonna take a little bit of my yellow and then just a little bit of red. You see that? And then I'm going to mix it here right in the middle. That way we still have more yellow and more red. Okay. And then mix until you start seeing the color orange. Yeah. All right. Mine came out like kind of a light orange. I want it a little bit darker, so I'm going to put more red in it. But if you like a light orange, you'd want to put more yellow than red. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna take, and it's okay if it's not completely mixed. It'll look beautiful. I'm gonna take my paintbrush and I'm gonna go right under the red arch here. If you get a little bit on your color red, it's okay. I'm trying to avoid it, which means I'm trying not to paint on my red because I want to see all of the colors. But when we look at a rainbow, we do kind of see the colors like bumping into each other. You know what I mean? We see some of the red and the orange, and we see some of the orange and the yellow. So if you get a little bit in the red, don't worry. That's how it looks in nature. I know we've talked about this before, but how many of you like looking at rainbows? Yeah. They are beautiful. I just stare at them when I see them. I think that they're so amazing. And for a long time, I wondered what makes a rainbow. Have you ever wondered that? Yeah, rain, right, it does. We see rainbows when it rains, yes. There's more to the story than that though, and it's a little bit complicated, but I'm gonna explain it to you in a way that I think will make sense. Okay. Remember, you wanna use kind of a lot of paint. So really get that in there. Okay. All right, take your time. If at any point you need to pause the video so you can take your time, please feel free. That way we can stay at the same pace. That's really important. I don't want you guys feel like you have to wait for me, or like if I'm going too slow, you can fast forward it. And if you need a little more time, you can pause it. Okay. We've got orange. Can you show me what yours looks like so far? Awesome. That's beautiful. I can't wait to see it when it's all done. Okay. So I'm going to talk about how a rainbow is made when we start doing our yellow right now. Yellow is the next color that we see in a rainbow. So look, let's see, what color is your water? Yeah, is it similar to the color? Yeah, my color, yeah. There we go. Yeah, you'll see every time you put a new color in there, it will change the color of the water just a little bit. Some of the colors like blue will change it a lot. Okay, so I'm gonna really wash that out well. And if at any point you need to dump out your water and then have your parent go get you new water, that's a great idea because we want our paintbrush to be as clean as we can possibly get it. And you can tell if it's clean. I'll show you how you can tell. So you put it in the water and you kind of go up and down with it so it hits the bottom of the glass because that's going to help break up the paint. And then you put it on your paper towel and just dab it like this. Okay? So that's not a whole lot of paint. It's a little bit, but it's not a whole lot. So I'm okay with that. But if there's a whole lot of paint, you can dump out your water, rinse out your paintbrush, and then come back. All right, so we're gonna get yellow next. Yellow is my favorite color of the rainbow. I love the color yellow. It's so happy. What's your favorite color of the rainbow? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's so pretty too. And that's the thing about a rainbow is none of the colors are really as pretty when they're separate, right? It's when they're all together that you can see how beautiful each one is. So, how a rainbow is made. I'm gonna teach you another big word. I'm gonna put my paintbrush down though because we're gonna clap it out. Okay. The word is, it's two words, light, say light. And the second word is refraction. Refraction. Sorry. Refraction. One more time. Refraction. Refraction. Light refraction. So refraction is a really big word. And what it means is to bend. It means to bend. So this is how it works with the rainbow. We have colors all around us, right? There's colors in the sky. There's colors in the trees. Everywhere we look, there's colors. Yeah. So when it rains, it gets grayer outside, right? It's not as colorful. Yeah. So when it rains and the sun is somewhere to be found, in order to see a rainbow, for a rainbow to happen, the sun has to be seen somewhere. Because if the clouds are completely blocking the sun, we can't have a rainbow. So we need rain and we need sun. And you see it, usually you see rainbows right, like sometimes right as the rain is starting to slow down or start. So when the rain falls, where does the rain come from? Yeah, it comes out of the clouds. Excuse me. The clouds can hold a lot of water, until they get heavier and heavier and heavier. And when they hold more water than they can hold, it comes out of the clouds. Right? It comes out of the clouds. So when the rain is coming out of the clouds, you've got the sun over here. He's just hanging out doing his thing. The light from the sun hits the raindrops that are falling. And lots of raindrops, right? There's always a lot of raindrops. Even when it's sprinkling, there's a lot of them. So the light from the sun goes through the raindrops. And what happens is when it goes through the raindrops bend the light. They bend the light and they separate. It's when the light bends in a raindrop, it separates the colors. So all of the colors are separated. It's almost like grating cheese. If you want to think like the cheese would be the sun and the grater would be the rain. It just like is coming out all in pieces. It's not one whole thing. So yeah, the sunlight it hits the raindrop, and the water in the raindrop, which is the whole raindrop, it bends the light from the sun. And when it bends the light, it separates all the colors. It separates them so that we see a rainbow. Isn't that so cool? Another good example, I think, is, have you ever been to In-N-Out? It's delicious, right? I really like In-N-Out. They use a potato cutter to make their French fries. So they'll take a whole potato and they put it over this machine with a lever, and they pull the lever down, and the potato slices into fries. If you have a Play-Doh, like any kind of Play-Doh toys that do the same thing, you push it down and then the Play-Doh comes out in like tubes. Yes, it's just like that. But instead of potatoes or Play-Doh, it's light, and it separates it so that you can see each color individually. I did not know how a rainbow was formed. I was always told something different, but I didn't learn the science of how a rainbow was made until I was an adult. And when I learned it, I was like, oh my goodness, that is absolutely amazing. Nature is fascinating. It's fascinating already that clouds can hold so much water. I've read that they could hold up to a million pounds of water before the water falls out of the clouds. Yeah. Okay. So I rinsed off my paintbrush. The next color we're gonna need to make is this color. Do you remember the next one in a rainbow? It's green, yes. It's green. So do you remember, how do we make green? What two colors do we mix together to make green? Yellow and blue. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I did, but it's gonna be trickier because my yellow and my blue aren't really right next to each other. So I'm gonna take some of my yellow, I'm gonna push it off to the side right here. Okay, and then I'm gonna take some of my blue. And if you need help from a parent with the mixing the colors, don't hesitate to ask them, because I know this part's kind of hard. Or if it's a struggle, then you guys can mix it beforehand in little cups. You guys can do that. You can make all the colors beforehand. That would be a much easier way to do it if you're struggling with doing it this way. I'm struggling with doing it this way because I'm trying not to mix all the colors together because I don't want a brown rainbow. I like brown. Brown's pretty, but I don't want it in my rainbow. Okay, so you just keep mixing. Do you see? Yep. My paint palette is starting to look like a rainbow, isn't it? I'm gonna make a little bit more because I'm using a lot of paint on my bubble wrap because I wanna make sure that I really see those colors when I put my piece of paper on there. And, okay, so look, I'm making more of a dark green now. Okay, you see that? I want it a little bit darker than that. So I'm gonna use more blue because blue is darker than yellow. If I wanted it to be lighter, I would use more yellow. Yes. guys are so smart. Okay. Once you get it the color that you want it, we're going to put lots of paint on our brush and we're going to go right underneath the yellow. And, okay. And remember, if some of it gets on the yellow, it's okay. I'm trying to keep mine separate because that's how I wanted to do my art, because I really want to see all the colors of the rainbow. So depending on how you want to do yours, even if you want to keep them separate, it's okay if a little bit gets in the yellow. Okay. Or if the yellow comes into the green, that just happened to me because my paintbrush picked up some of the yellow paint and it put it in the green. Absolutely okay. Okay. So do you like the rain? Do you like when it's raining outside? Yeah. Do you like to play in the rain? Yeah. Maybe with some rain boots. Maybe you can jump into some puddles. Yeah. When my kids were little, that was one of their favorite things to do. They would put on their rain boots and they would run outside and just find every puddle they could find so that they could stomp in it. And then they would come in and they'd be freezing cold. It's usually because it's cold when it rains. They'd be freezing cold and all wet, totally wet. And then I would make them a bath and I'd bring them hot chocolate so that they'd get all nice and warmed up. Okay. I miss those days. You guys grow up so fast. Okay. Uh-oh. Got paint on myself. Okay. Okay. Will you show me yours? Nice. I love it. Yeah, I like where you chose to put your colors. Yeah, and how much paint you used. Yeah, it's really pretty. It's gonna be fun because even though we are doing the same art project, every single one of our rainbows are gonna look different because that's how art is, right? Because different people are doing it. It's one of my favorite things about art. So I'm gonna get some more water, I think. Oh, no, I'm okay. If you need to get some clean water for your paintbrush, go ahead and pause the video and then get some. Okay. All right, so do you know what comes under green when you're looking at a rainbow? Blue. And do we have blue on our palette? Yeah, we needed to use it, didn't we? So if you need more blue, just ask your parent to give you a little bit more blue. So I have some left, but you can see it's mixed with the green. Not all of it though. I'm gonna use what's not mixed with the green. And like I said, if you guys wanna mix all these colors before we even start painting, that would probably be a lot easier. But I wanted to do it this way on the video just in case you wanted to mix them together, because that process is fun as well. And we do a lot of color mixing in preschool, don't we? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go right underneath, and now I've got a lot of paint, so I'm finding it more difficult to try to hold the bubble wrap and not get paint on my hands. Okay. And it makes a sound when you paint the bubble wrap, right? So if we take a second to be very quiet, we can listen. You hear it? Sounds different than when we paint on paper, huh? Yeah, there's not really a sound when we paint on paper. And remember, it's totally up to you too, whether you choose to do really thick lines of color or thin, or if you do some of them thick and some of them thin. Rainbows are perfect just the way they are, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be perfect. You know what I mean? They don't have to be exactly the same amount of colors to be beautiful. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you'll see rainbows and there'll be a lot of yellow in the rainbow, like this little thick, yep, a thick stretch of yellow. I've seen that. Okay. And sometimes you'll see the bottom color of the rainbow, but not always. I've seen rainbows that I have not seen the bottom color. So speaking of which, do you know the bottom color? This is our last color. Purple, yes. Okay, so we're gonna need to make purple. Do you remember what two colors make purple? Yeah. Red and blue. Red and blue make purple. Okay, so I don't have a whole lot of blue left. I'm gonna take what I have and mix it together. This is a kind of a dark purple. I want it a little bit brighter. I accidentally got some in my orange and now it's changing it to brown. So I don't want that color to be brown. So I'm just gonna add some blue to my red paint. It's really interesting that if you mix all three of the colors together, you get brown. But if you mix just two colors together, you get a secondary or a whole other color. It's pretty fascinating. Okay. There we go. Okay, did you get the shade of purple you wanted? The shade means if it's light purple or dark purple. If you want light purple, you want to add more red, and or you can also add a little bit of white. Remember, you can add white to any color and it makes it lighter. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go paint my last color in here. This is very dark purple, but that's okay. It's really pretty. So next time you look in the sky and you see a rainbow, maybe you can talk about how rainbows are made. It's called light. You say light, like light from the sun. Refraction. Refraction. Or you can just say you want to tell your parents about how rainbows are made. You could tell them that the sun shines through the raindrops and the raindrops bend the light so that the light all comes out one by one, comes out separately so that we can see all the colors. Kind of like a Play-Doh machine. When you're putting it putting it through and it comes out in little tubes or whatever it's supposed to be, like spaghetti or, yep. The raindrops bend and separate the light so that we can see every color that goes into the light. Okay. Because when the sun is shining down and there's no rain, what color do we see? We see the light, we see yellow, right? Yeah. But when it goes through the rain, it bends. And also there's all different colors all around us. So it's a combination of all the colors that we see that's separated. Okay. Will you show me yours? That is beautiful. I love it. And that is mine. Awesome. Let's stamp and then we're going to be all finished. Okay, remember, not the side of your name. I'm going to get it on there. And then you want to rub. And as we're rubbing, it's going to mix some of the colors a little bit. That's okay. What I'm doing is I'm rubbing in the direction of my rainbow. So since I made my rainbow like this, like an like arches, I'm gonna rub in arches like this. All right. Can you feel the bubbles underneath the paper? Yeah, you try to pop one. It's really difficult. Okay. Now separate your bubble wrap from your paper. Oh my goodness, yours looks so pretty. You did an awesome job painting a rainbow. I hope you had fun with this art project. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for joining me.